And welcome to Dare to Disagree, your weekly episodic podcast. I am not your host today, Jonathan Esther out of California.
And this is the man with the technology to make it happen, glow in the dark.
For now. And we are, of course, your weekly episode of podcast talking about the things people don't want to talk about in the way they should talk about it, with respect and ignorance.
So much. So here's what I'm gonna throw this shit out here first, okay? Because
Damn. Off running. Let's do this.
I just thought about this right as we were doing the fucking countdown. Alabama and their fucking same-sex marriage debate, okay? Now, I don't know if you heard about this, Mr. Esther, but as has been going across the country, a lot of states have said, no, we're not going to approve same-sex marriage licenses. The federal court says, fuck you, yes you are, and the state says, god damn it, okay. Like, that's been the freaking running fucking thing throughout the U.S., which is slowly spreading across it. Now,
that's depressing, but all right. At least it's getting done.
Now, Alabama, who's... shit, I didn't remember his title. I want to say it's their... Shit, I can't remember his title. But he's like the chief over all the judges in Alabama, or the state judges.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, this guy has been fired before because he decided to uphold having the Ten Commandments at all court buildings, which, of course, is a violation of separation of church.
Yeah, for sure.
So they kicked him out, to which Alabamans re-elected him, okay? Now,
all right.
the same bounce happened. Alabama said, no, we're not going to approve this for same-sex couples. The federal court says, yes, you are. It's in the Constitution, so go fuck yourself.
Yep.
Back to them, to which, like all the other states, okay, fuck it, I guess we're going to do it. This guy sent out a letter to all the judges saying, no, you guys are not going to approve these licenses, and to do so is a violation of our state constitution, blah, 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 trying to get them to hold up. Now, a lot of places still were doing it because that guy doesn't have the authority to make that decision. Federal courts,
Yeah.
Other ones did his thing, like they freaking approved his message and weren't issuing. Other ones just shut down their fucking things completely and nobody could get marriage licenses. Saying, fuck it, let's be equal. Nobody's getting married.
I mean, if you're gonna be that stubborn, this is kind of the running theme with the South, so it's not really a shock. They always have to be dragged, kicking, and streaming into the fucking future every fucking time in every scenario. But I don't know.
That's kind of we're supposed to give them.
I was gonna ask where's the point though, because this guy's just gonna get kicked out, right? That should make sense.
This is my point today. Like, we're supposed to, when we're talking about shit that happened back in the day, we're supposed to go, but that was a different time. But every fucking time that these people get a chance, they prove they're just as goddamn ignorant. Like, for slavery, Alabama fought against fucking freeing the slaves. Unbeknownst to all, okay? Then, women's rights.
Women's rights, yeah, I remember that. That was within my lifetime. That was brutal.
Yep, fucking interracial marriages. Alabama fought against interracial marriages. All this shit Alabama keeps fighting on, and every point we're supposed to go, oh, that was a different time. No, you fucking idiots. You're the same pieces of shit. You just keep getting dragged forward. Okay? You haven't changed. And the same reasoning behind all this, between slavery, between have rights, to interracial marriages, to black people having rights.
It's always the Bible.
Yeah. So,
it's always been the Bible with Alabama, with the South in general. But, okay, so at the end of the day, what are you telling me here? You're telling me we should just let Alabama go the way of nature?
No, I'm tired of freaking giving them the benefit of the doubt when it comes to their history. You know, when you bring up their history, people are like, oh, come on now. You know, that was a different time, different people. But it's proven itself, no, you're the same ignorant motherfuckers. And you prove it every time you get the chance.
Well, I mean, it's like the whole issue with the Dixie shirts. And really, I think you're being kind by just saying Alabama.
Oh yeah,
I say the South in general.
Yeah, I don't mean just Alabama. There's a whole network of states there.
Yeah, the South in general has a nasty habit of never wanting to move into the future. They always want to hang on to the past. And I mean, we do what we have to do on a federal. It's one of the good things about having like a federal, you know, system where they still oversee all the states. Because if all the states were left to rule themselves willy nilly, I mean, think of Alabama if Alabama had autonomy, man. Think of that shit for a while. That's one of the things that was really fun for me when Texas wanted to secede because we had a black president.
Yeah.
My greatest rage was that nobody brought up the really interesting point. You want to secede off of a black president. That's racist.
It's because of his politics.
No, it had nothing to fucking do. He hadn't even had time to have any politics done. They didn't want to secede when Bill Clinton wanted to be in the office. So, and his politics were similar. So my point is, these people are, and I'm kind of tired of pretending, and I've told people for a long time, look, I'm tired of pretending like Republicans don't hate Obama because he's black. I'm tired. I'm tired of us dancing around that topic. Because people always go, oh, you're going to the race card. I'm like, look, man, you show me another president whose fucking birth certificate has been challenged, and I'll tell you you're right.
And that's kind of my thing with Obama. I don't like Obama. I think he's a piece of shit. But I haven't liked any president since I've been alive.
And I agree. I absolutely agree.
But
I used to be one of those guys who was like, well, he's the lesser of the two evils. But I've grown to the point where I'm like, no, he isn't really. He's just a different kind of evil. The same bullshit goes on. Yeah. So at the end, I was just like, you know what? I'm fucking done with this game. Motherfuckers, like people are like, well, you still got to vote. That's how change happens. I'm like, I'm tired of playing this game. I'm tired of playing this game. I work in one of the lowest castes of society. I work in retail. And I'll tell you what, I see what motherfuckers buy on a weekly basis. Those fucking tabloids on the shelves, it's not the fucking poorest of the poor that buy them only. There's plenty of fucking rich motherfuckers that come in there and buy those fucking tabloids. These are the ones that are college educated, supposed to be better. And I usually challenge them passively, and I'll go, hey, look, in all honesty, why the fuck are you buying that? You understand that's all bullshit, right? You're college educated, yada, yada, yada. I see your fucking car. You're clearly, you know, in good standing in society, quote unquote. So why are you buying this? It's always something along the lines of, oh, you know, I need something to read at the nail salon, or, oh, you know, I got a long ride and I just want something to kind of get my mind off stuff. And this is what you.
This is your distraction. This is what you're gonna fucking go for right here. By the way, you're breaking up. I mean that. And if a puppet master was here instead of at a KKK meeting right now, which, you know, bless his heart, I hope things go well. He's striving for promotion right now. He's trying to get into the wizardry. But if he was here, we were talking about before, where he was saying, I'm fucking tired of this self-righteous blah blah blah. Name a president who isn't fucking self-righteous. Name a goddamn president who looks like I'm all alone here. Name a president who wasn't out for them fucking selves, and I'll be willing to talk. But they all have been. And we're giving Obama a lot more credit than he's due for doing the same shit that everybody's fucking done. You know what I'm saying? Give me just 1 second, nation. You're gonna have to listen to me rant by myself. Hey, what's up, man? You hear me?
I'm there. Sorry, I had a dead zone there.
Yeah.
But where did I end off?
I don't know. You were freaking out. But what I'm saying is, there's nothing about Obama that's worse than most modern presidents. He has the same freaking foreign relations. He has the same freaking economic policies. He has the same everything, and fucking we're bitching him out, and we're trying to pretend it's not because he's black. And I'm sure there's a lot of Republicans. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying all Republicans are racist, but there's a decent fucking amount. Okay, there's a lot of people who hate him for legitimate reasons, but they're kind of exaggerating the fact that Mitt Romney wouldn't have been any better, or whoever the fuck they're putting up wouldn't be any better. Fucking Rand Paul, this fucking guy, isn't going to be any better. That's kind of my issue. And us not taking into account that everybody's bullshit is giving us excuses to fucking hire one guy or the other, you know?
Yeah.
Like, people tell me you still need to vote. I don't think so. I think I could go out, instead of voting, spend that hour it takes me to vote, and go sell freaking crack to the kids and make myself $2, which makes me $2 richer, and that $2 will give me more political power than going to fucking vote.
I agree, man. I've challenged the notion that voting actually has an effect for a long time, for a very long time. There's this idea that voting actually gives the people a voice, but if you pay even half attention to voting as a process, you'll notice half of the time when people vote, they'll tell you these key states are already locked in.
Yeah.
Right? They'll tell you, okay, these states are already going to vote Republican. We're voting for the swing states, the states that go back and forth. And I go, the fuck kind of game is this? How is it that these states vote the same no matter what? Yep. That's ridiculous. How does that make any fucking sense? That means those states don't even consider the opposition's point of view. What's the point of running in a Republican state if you're a Democrat? If you know the odds are 80%, 90%, they're going to vote Republican. How the fuck is that a democracy?
Well, that's kind of like we talked about it before. Congress had like a 95% disapproval rating. Everybody fucking hates Congress.
And
91%.
And what was it, like 99%? Yeah.
It's terrible. There's no choice in this system. You know, it's
statement. I don't think that people heard it.
There's no choice in this system. I think people are hearing me and not you. You know.
No. That's what I'm saying. I think we might have cut off at the same time and not said it. But I think it was 95% disapproval rating, but 91% reelection rate.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's fucking insane. Most people complain about this person. 95% of people think this person's shit, but 91% of the time they get reelected. How the fuck is that a democracy? How the fuck is that a thinking group of people reacting to a government? That makes no fucking sense. And I'm just confused because I'm like, I'm not fucking smart. I'm not smart at all. There's no fucking way I'm smart. I know me. I'm not smart. So there are people who have gone to Harvard and are educated and are on network TV informing other people, and nobody has brought this point up. How the fuck? At that point, this is a fucking game. This is a game that's being played, and I'm done playing it. And it's always funny because I talk to people that are older than me, and I bring that shit up. And every time I talk to them, like, look, you're young. You feel that way. Everybody, but I'm a fucking point in voting. The way I look at it, vote or not, the results are going to be the same. You know why? I asked few presidencies, no matter who won, certain things happened regardless. No matter who won, we treated Saudi Arabia, China, and North Korea with a little bit of favoritism than we treated Iraq and Africa and countries like that. We treated countries that we considered allies. When they do something bad, we were a little more lenient on them than we treated countries that were, evil, that were doing the right thing. But no matter who was elected, Russia would do whatever they fuck they want in whatever terrible capacity they want, and all we would do would give them petty sanctions that barely ever did anything well. Supposedly they do bad things, but Russia is still out there fucking doing sanctions. They still got a fucking Olympic game, even though we are constantly sanctioning those fuckers for doing evil shit. So what the fuck is the point of voting?
And that's my big problem with Russia. Like, here's my, and I brought up Russia a couple times. I don't think we ever delved into it. We've had the opportunity several times to make friends with Russia. If we make friends with Russia, we have almost nothing to fear. Okay, the Chinese are getting strong, you know, but
yeah,
in Russia versus China, it's over. Okay,
yeah,
including all the rest of our combined allies.
yeah.
We have nothing to fear, but we keep fucking with Russia, which leaves us in a place to destroy the entire world. I'm not saying Russia's perfect. I'm not saying Russia doesn't do their fuck-ups. But all the time, and we've done it a couple times in our past, where Russia gets real strong, and then something will happen and they'll collapse. And Russia will get real strong and they'll collapse. It's kind of, I mean, the U.S. does it too. Russia does it to a much...
But yeah, they kind of ball out when they do that, yeah.
But whenever they collapse, they tell us, hey, we could go in there and say, hey, let's help you. Let's feed your starving people so they're not turned to cannibalism. Let's pick you back up and make these collapses not as bad, and we'll be friends with you so that we're not going to kill everybody in the planet when we get to this fist fight. But every time they collapse, we go in there and fuck with them like they're not going to get bigger again. We go in there and fucking poke the bear, fucking move our freaking alliances closer and encroach onto their land. If Russia came in and succeeded fucking Mexico, even if Mexico was totally agreeing to it, and gave them a nuclear proliferation treaty, we would flip the fuck out. But we do that over to them all the time. And get flipping out on the Ukraine and shit like that.
It kind of links into something I've always kind of thought about politics. I've always thought politics should have, like almost any other job, should have a retirement age.
Yeah.
Not even a retirement age. I think politics should have a time span. You should have about 20 years in politics, and then you're fucking out. You're done. 20 years and you're done. Because what was I watching last year? They were doing an election in, God damn it, I want to say New York or New Jersey or one of those places. It was a black candidate. He was Democratic. He was being reelected. And the dude was like 75, being reelected in a position of power in like one of the major metropolitans of America. And I was sitting there going, I don't think if you don't get the concept of Twitter or Facebook, you should be elected right now. I don't think you're in touch with the people if you don't get the concept of Twitter. If you can't single-handedly register a domain name without help, I don't think you should have the voice of the people in mind. Because I don't think you're in touch with society or the people. Look, man, I'm about to hit my 30s, and I'm telling you right now, I'm already out of touch. I can feel it when I hang around fucking kids that are 21, 22, 23. I'm already out of... I already see myself doing grown-up things. Like...
There's a short list of grown-up things you do, man. Even that goddamn signal. But yeah, I mean, I get your point you're struggling to make there, and people have talked about it a number of times, putting term limits on everybody in politics, and I bring him up a lot because him and mine, his views coincide a lot. Dan Carlin was saying you could tell the efficiency of a government by how many things it has to block money in politics. Money's going to always try and get in politics and infest it, and you got to fucking keep that shit out of there. Right now, the U.S. has money all throughout politics. It's a fucking infection, and it's killing the whole goddamn system.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, I'm a big hip-hop head. right?
Yeah.
Like I'm in my adult moments, I'm a big hip hop head, and I think I'm pretty well informed about hip hop, and I know hip hop pretty well. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So there's a rapper out called Bobby either Schmurda or Sherma.
Bobby Sherman.
I'm pretty sure it's Schmurda. But I caught myself having an argument with like a like early 20s dude, like, bitch, that's not a fucking hip hop name. That motherfucker is lazy. He's not making any attempt at being creative. You know, there are actual hip hop artists out there with dope names. Childish Gambino has a dope name. Two Chains even is a creative name compared to Bobby Schmurda. You're running out of fucking adjectives to describe yourself, and you're just like, I'm just gonna mush words together. That's not fucking hip hop. You know what? That's some old man ass shit to say. I understand this. I understand what that just means. You know, I'm not saying that I don't appreciate modern hip hop. There's some modern hip hop I like, but I'm gonna tell you what. A lot of this new slowed down hip hop, like I was never a fan of the. There was a phase of hip hop called the fizz movement. It's kind of E40. It was fast rapping, very drug related. It kind of led into this whole what's this shit called? Trap music, which I've never been a fan of. Like trap music is just straight up just ignorance, just pushing on the agenda of fucking, you know, drug money. Just we're in the hood, we're doing what we got to do. We're gonna sell these drugs until we fucking die because it makes us money. You know what? Your cup of tea, not my cup of tea. But there's some tracks out here that I'll be like, all right, that's a good track, regardless of how I feel about it. I think I can be a little objective about that shit. So I understand I got some old man shit. I think if I'm having these basic issues and I'm still objective enough to appreciate some of this shit that I consider trash, I don't think a 70-something-year-old dude will understand like a public issue if a kid comes up and he has a Facebook issue or has some Facebook bullying going on. That old man isn't going to fucking understand that shit. How is he the fucking voice of the people in Congress?
How are you gonna talk about my wants and needs when your dick doesn't even work? And
yeah,
revolves around that, you know.
And that sounds like we're being petty and shit, but I think that's a fair fucking point. If you don't have a libido, I guess you're supposed to think about things more objectively, but I just think you're out of touch with emotion. I think at that point you kind of become cold and callous.
You're talking about Tiger Woods. I wouldn't have cheated on my wife. Bitch, you can't cheat on your wife.
What was...
Stuff that shit poking in? Give me a fucking...
There's that joke, that website that we go to called Cracked.
Yeah.
And they made a great point. They were like, they kind of made, I don't know if you read it, they wrote the joke letter of Tiger Woods apologizing for cheating on his wife.
It was beautiful. Beautiful.
And it was a fantastic piece of fucking essay writing. Because the guy who wrote the essay, or the girl, I'm not sure who, when they wrote it, they were basically making the point that I'm sorry I cheated on my wife, but in my defense, I did really good for a really long time. And there were a lot of fun jokes in there, like, you motherfuckers don't understand what it's like. I reached into one of the tees to get my ball, and there was a titty in there. There was a titty just waiting for me inside the tee as I went to get my ball. Do you know how difficult it is? Could you imagine gorgeous women, day and night, throwing themselves at you, and you constantly have to say no? Motherfuckers are out here. There are priests out there that can't keep from philandering on their own family. And you're telling me a pretty healthy man with a large income getting all kinds of not 8s, not 9s, but 10s being thrown at him literally all day long is supposed to resist constantly?
And this,
like, he's done great. He even tried to get back with his wife. He's a better man than most.
And this is with this guy going home and knowing that his wife married him because he's a billionaire, not
yeah.
Tiger Woods. Or because he's Tiger Woods, not because
Yeah,
he's Tiger Woods, you know?
yeah. Nobody. Listen, everybody knows anybody that marries anyone who's a millionaire, unless they're also large of income. Odds are it's for the money. End of story. I mean, we know we've seen tons of trophy wives,
Yeah.
tons of trophy wives. It's a running trope, trophy wives. So I don't know. I don't understand. Like, I don't blame society because we all have a herd mentality. So I think society holds some responsibility, but I don't blame society for this. They're not the ones I hold accountable because we people as a group have always been fucking stupid. End of story. If you want an example, fucking Hitler. End of story. You know? That motherfucker led a bunch of people to kill a bunch of people in the world just because they were a type of people. End of that's about as much as you need to know about us as a people. We're able to commit acts like that. And that was one of the most advanced, and I tell people all the time when we get in conversations about history, I'm like, I think people get so caught up on the Hitler thing, they refuse to give Germany its due. That's a tiny country that almost took over the fucking planet. That's fucking impressive. There's a lot to be learned in there.
And they keep talking about like it was a Germany only thing. A lot of people in the U.S. were.
Oh no! Oh yeah! Tons of people were agreeing with Germany.
I mean, everybody. There was worldwide agreed with Hitler.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as Germany went down, a lot of people tried to cut ties and back off like we weren't part of it. But tons of people, like we were doing business with Germany up to a point. Or like you want to talk about that shit? We didn't get into the war until way later, until they started really fucking with us. But it's kind of one of those things where, as I said, humanity, I've always expected the worst out of humanity. When we're in groups of each other, we're terrible. I don't think I'm any less susceptible to that shit as anybody else. I think if I'm in a group of people and like some shit comes down the pipeline, I'll probably be stuck with the herd. I can't guarantee that I'll be the fucking sole leader standing with a fucking flare. But I hold news media outlets responsible. In what's that movie? God damn. The one with Anchorman. Anchorman 2, there's a great scene in there that kind of encapsulates everything I think about how news media has functioned. There's a point where once he comes back, because he gets fired and he comes back, spoilers by the way, when he comes back, he gets a breakthrough on how he's going to break into the 24-hour news cycle. And his breakthrough is, we're not going to give the people what they need. We're going to give them what they want.
Yeah.
And it's one of those comedic moments that I think people laughed off because it's a funny moment when it happens. But there is so much fucking truth in that. These news outlets are amazing at giving us what we want, not what we need. And I don't think we hold them to task enough because, again, most people want this. They want the distraction. They want all that shit. That's part of the reason these news ratings are going to keep dropping, because most kids can get everything the news gives them more accurately on their phone before the news does.
Oh, yeah.
So it's one of those things where I think the news would have been successful today if the news had taken an integrity stand and said, no, we're going to keep saying the truth. We're going to keep being objective. We're going to be real, honest-to-God journalists. And there's some news outlets out there trying to do that. News outlets like Vice.com are still trying to do that. Trying to be objective about like really complex situation and not come out and say this person is wrong or that person is wrong or how will the public react. No, they just go, hey, these are the facts. This is what's going on. This is how it's perceived. You make your mind up about whether that's right or wrong. We're not going to tell you whether it's right. We're not going to tell you whether it's wrong. If a reporter has a bias, the reporter will tell you what their bias is, but they'll always make sure you know at the end of it, here is the fact. My bias is this, but here is the fact. And if the news has stuck to their guns in that regards, and I think that changed around the 60s, 70s, I think they would be much more successful today than they are. But there's a ratings rush. And that 24 news hour cycle started making it a business instead of actual news.
Yeah. It's kind of a, what are those, what's that meal called where it's like made from the liver of a duck, like a
Oh, you're talking about foie gras.
yeah, exactly. I can't pronounce
By
that.
the way, my apologies to any vegans or vegetarians. That shit is delicious.
But here's the thing: people complain about that because they're force feeding those ducks, and I've talked to people and they're like, we're really not. Those fucking ducks force their fucking mouths on that thing, and they're enjoying every goddamn second of it, even though it's goddamn terrible for them.
Yeah.
That's kind of the American public in news. The shit that we want, that we're gonna fucking swallow down for 24 hours a day, is not the shit that we need.
Yeah, not even close. Not
We're
even close.
not capable of maintaining that. We're those fucking ducks force feeding ourselves until our goddamn liver explodes, you know?
By the way, one of the things I love about that, I love it when it's force feeding ducks. Well, not even force feeding. When it's feeding ducks and they force feed themselves, those ducks don't know any better. We're abusing them. But when the animal kills a person, that animal didn't know any better. That person shouldn't have been there. Wait, what? The fuck are you talking about? Look, and I've had the biggest issue. It took me a long time to get over this. I, again, apologize to any vegan, vegetarian, anything like that. I've always thought that to be stupid. I think vegetarianism is a side effect of how good life in America is. As an immigrant, you will never see a vegetarian diet anywhere aside from America or Europe. That shit doesn't function. And by the way, I'm not counting people that are vegetarian due to dietary needs. That's a whole other thing. Whole other thing. If you can't process meats for whatever genetic reason, that's an entirely different discussion. I'm talking about the people that say, I don't eat meat because I don't eat anything with a face or a mother. Okay, look, you've been pampered for a long time. It's time for you to go out there and see what the fucking world can really be like. And I feel the same way about germaphobes. That's another, right along that line. People that are like, at my job, I see germaphobes all the time because I work in a pharmacy, and you'll watch a guy walk in and go, I watched a father walk in with his daughter, tell his daughter to go to the bathroom and go, hey, honey, don't touch the door handle, open it with your elbow, and make sure while you're in there, don't touch anything. And I kind of laughed because I went, she's going to have to touch something. She's going to have to touch something. And I can assure you, anything she touches in there is probably going to be worse than the outside door handle. So your germophobia already makes no fucking sense. But it's a side effect of, I don't remember where I read it. It's a thing where there was an argument that we as humans have competed for survival for so long that our bodies are conditioned for stress. That's why we're always trying to improve. We're always trying to evolve. We're always trying to do better because throughout history we've had to do that to kind of succeed, to stay on top of the pile. And we've gotten to a point of history where we've plateaued. There's no open-ended threat to us. So the only way for us to keep that evolutionary mechanism alive in case we need it is to manufacture threats and dangers. That's where you get stuff like vegetarians or germaphobes, people that manufacture this new danger or this new issue so that they can have that genetic stress, so that trait can be passed down to their children of always being ready to adapt and overcome. You know, that was the argument. I think that argument stretch. I just think these people are kind of morons and have it too good. But there's an argument to be said to that.
Yeah, and I could see that, and a lot of times they end up hurting themselves. Like Greenpeace, like I'm all about environment. I'm all about predictive environment, and I fucking love animals, okay? But I can't stand fucking Greenpeace and like their thing in Peru. I don't know. Did you hear about what they did in Peru?
Yeah, with the education?
No. What they did is there was that
Oh, the education thing was Chile, sorry.
There was these ancient fucking sculptures where like these monks had walked a path, the same path for decades, centuries, and it made these huge freaking images that you could see from the sky. It was like a hummingbird and shit like that. Let me see if I could find it. But Greenpeace went out there because there was a summit going on, and they knew that there was going to be a picture displayed of that during the summit, and they freaking walked out on this, damaging that fucking area.
Oh, man.
And called up a Greenpeace sign, the future is fucking now, or some shit like that, right? What's that? That's what the fuck I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see what these idiots fucking did. Nobody's allowed to go out there, because it's a danger to the freaking the area.
Yeah, the historical nature of the area.
These fucking idiots went out there. Here you go. You see that?
Not yet. Hold on. Nah, I don't see it, but keep going.
But they walked out there with these fucking signs and drove vehicles out there, damaging this fucking area for thousands of years. It's going to take thousands of years for nature to fucking slowly repair the damage they did out there.
Yep.
And for a while, they didn't even want to take credit for what they did. They didn't want to apologize or fucking anything for what happened there. They just were freaking letting it go. Like, whoa, you guys are making a big deal because you're hurting our feelings. We were trying to do a good thing. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Like,
yeah.
And that's a lot of groups have this problem where instead of focusing on key issues, they expand it to fucking everything is a goddamn tragedy. And I'm going to bring this up. It's probably going to piss you off. It's probably piss off the people we piss off the most on this show. Feminists do this shit a lot. And I'm not anti-feminism. I got a daughter. I totally understand that there's a lot of unfairity in the world for women that needs to be fixed. Okay?
By the way, I don't think unfairity is a word, but I get your point.
I'm gonna fucking run with it, okay?
We're going to go ahead and say unfairness.
Unfairness towards women and in the U.S., and we don't like to admit it. Like, we make fun of freaking Muslims a lot over how their treatment of women. Fucking Muslims treat women like shit. But in like the top 5 Muslim countries, 4 of them have had women heads of state, and the U.S. hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, oh, that's true.
50% of our population, over 50% of our population is women, and we haven't elected one of them to fucking president.
Yeah.
Every time it comes up, people are like, "Oh shit! What if she gets her period and starts a war?"
What happened? What happened when Hillary even thought about running a little while ago? I remember the most disgusting thing I saw, and everybody knew it was just going to be a disgusting fest. Which I kind of had to stop watching Fox News, literally because of that. But I remember when that happened, they had the morning show Fox and Friends, where it's supposed to be like the male and the female point of view, and they had the women and the men co-hosts kind of bring up a point, which was, well, isn't she old? Her daughter's about to have a child. Isn't she about to be a grandmother? Do we want a grandmother running? And I was like, no, the fuck you didn't. McCain, son of a bitch, McCain, that motherfucker, didn't he have like 2 heart attacks and he was still running for president? I was like, I haven't watched news since. I get all my news online since then. Because when I saw that, I was just like, if this is something that we can allow as adults in this country on television, I will not be party to it. End of story. I can't be a part of that. I'm cynical by nature as it is. I don't need more fuel for my cynical fire. It's hard as fuck for me every day to see the positive in shit. So you see shit like I'm the guy who's on Facebook and somebody will post up, oh, repost if you want Jesus to do wonders in your life. And I'm like, you fucking idiot. If you really cared about it, why don't you go to somebody you know and do something positive instead of reposting stupid shit on Facebook? By the way, quick side note about that shit, coming back to what you said earlier about Greenpeace doing acts that are thought to be positive and going someplace and doing shit they're not supposed to do. Motherfuckers on Facebook that post religious quotes under fucking posts that have nothing to do with religion, fuck you and stop it. There's a time and a fucking place. End of story. I used to hold back because I used to have this notion, oh my God, they're being religious. I should kind of respect their rights. And then I realized they don't give a fuck about my rights when they post that shit. So fuck you. No, I don't care what religion you are. I was raised Protestant no matter what you do. If we're having a post and it has nothing to do with religion and you post a prayer, I'm coming the fuck at you. End of story.
But back to my point is, I understand there is a need for feminism in the freaking world. But the problem that a lot of feminists get is they want to make everything into a fucking gender issue, even when it doesn't make any goddamn sense, and it ruins their fucking stance. Like, did you see the whole outcry against Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines?
Yeah, I saw that. That was...
They fucking took that shit to... Oh, he said, you know you want it, girl. My rapist said it was some bitch with a fucking cardboard sign. My rapist said, you know you want it, as he raped me. You know what? I'm pretty sure some rapist said good morning, too, and then raped me. Did I not say that? Am I pretending to be a rapist now whenever I say good morning to my wife? It's fucking ridiculous. That song had nothing to do about rape. He was boasting, as millions of other songs have done. He was boasting about it. He was so fucking attractive that women just wanted him. And that had nothing to do with rape, and these bitches made it about rape and totally ruined their stances on actual fucking issues when they get over here, you know?
Now, I'm gonna, because this is Dare to Disagree, and you weren't completely wrong. I'm not angry about the feminist thing, but you weren't completely wrong. I'm gonna ask you a question then. Do you think, would you rather have at least those voices out there? I know those voices go too far. We talked about this in some character with Al Sharpton, where I said, even though I think he's wrong 99.9% of the time when he gets involved in a situation that has no business having to do with him, I would still rather have his voice out there because I'm still valuing the 1% of the time he makes a point. I would rather ignore the 99 so that in the 1% we need someone to say what he says it. Would you rather have the feminist voice out there going too far periodically, or most of the time, let's be honest, and the Greenpeace voice, and this is me kind of contradicting myself, going too far every once in a while, or would you rather not have them out there at all?
No, I mean, I don't think you're giving me an A and B option. I don't think I want to see where we have feminists that are attacking real, legitimate issues.
But here's the thing:
they destroyed their state, and I'll give you an example. There's a lot of reasons to be pissed at the government. Okay, so when I'm going up and I'm complaining about the government, I don't like how NSA is doing. We're destroying our rights to battle freaking theoretical terrorists who are trying to remove our rights. That's making them successful. There's no reason we should be taking away our rights to battle them. If we can't do within the realm of our rights, then fuck it. This is the ground we have to fight on. And I'm sitting there trying to say that, and somebody comes up, yeah, and fucking Obama's a Muslim. Now I'm looking like I'm in a fucking group of crazies. You know, people who have legitimate points are getting drowned out by fucking idiots. And I'll give you another example. Death panels. We were promised that death panels were going to happen when Obama made freaking Obamacare, right? They droned on about that shit nonstop, and now they're fucking pretty quiet now that Obamacare's here and there's no fucking sign of these death panels.
Oh no, you missed that? They explained that.
What happened?
The Republicans saved America from the death panels when they amended Obamacare. You missed that part? They're the heroes, son. They took Obamacare, that tawdry little bitch she was, and they fixed her. They fixed her good.
All right.
Yeah, that's what your Republican representative said back when this whole thing went down.
Now, there's a lot of reasons to be pissed about Obamacare. Okay,
I agree.
And this is coming from somebody who pretty much, I put myself out as independent. A lot of my views are classical conservative, not Fox News conservative. That has nothing to do with conservative policy.
Yeah.
Classical conservative, which is, if it's not fucking hurting anybody, keep your fucking hands out of my business, you know?
Yeah.
But one point I want is the government shouldn't be involved, but nobody should starve to death. Okay? Gotta be the government should hold everybody at least to the not starving to death limit and let them be free to fucking go do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, healthcare, there should be a universal healthcare like Canada has.
Yeah.
Everybody should be taken care of. Everybody's health, that should be taken off the table because it's not fair to people. If I come to you and say, hey, Dave, you got this heart problem that's going to kill you in a month. I'll give you this pill for $5 and it'll cure it. Are you going to pay me?
Well, if I could, yes.
How about if I come to you and say, hey, Dave, I got this, you're going to die in a month from this heart problem. I got this pill for $10,000. Are you going to try to pay me?
I would normally try if I could.
Hey, Dave, I got this pill for $100,000, and you're going to have to pay me for the rest of your life. Are you going to pay me?
Well, no, I'd just rather die. That's not a life at all.
Are you really not going to take that? I'll pay you $150 a month for the rest of my life, but at least
I'll give it my best shot again, but
you're not able to negotiate when it comes to your fucking life. Okay, that's the issue. And that's really what these people are doing. That's why healthcare cannot be a public market type thing. You know, with my car, if I take it down, oh, you want to pay $1,000 to change my engine in my car? Fuck you. Hey, Pedro, you'll do it for $500? Hey, this guy says you'll do it for $500. You want to take it down? I'd rather have somebody who's a legal fucking immigrant here.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll do it for $7. Okay, you can negotiate with your car because fucking at the end of the day, I could take the bus, you know. But
now
I can't do anything with living. I have to live, and I'll pay you whatever the fuck it costs to live. That's why it can't be a fucking public market.
Now here's the even funnier part to your statement. Since I live close to the border here, and when I lived in Maryland, I saw a lot of people go to Canada and come back. And a lot of people go south of the border. I watch a lot of people here in California go south of the border for medication, and a lot of people used to go north of the border for healthcare and medication. And one of the running things they always say when they come back is pills are ridiculously cheap over the border.
Yeah.
Mind you, those people selling pills are still making an insane profit, but pills are ridiculously cheap over the border. So I went, okay, so pills are ridiculously cheap over the border and they're still making insane profit. What's the fucking difference in the United States?
Well, and it's not just pills. Think about surgeries. Like a hip replacement, or no, it was a knee replacement, I think, in the U.S. costs something like $60,000 fucking dollars. Okay?
Yep.
Some guy was talking about it. He was flying into the UK. It was some state or some country in the UK. I can't remember which one. He was flying there, vacationing for 2 months, getting his knee replaced, and flying back, and it wasn't going to cost him a quarter of the fucking cost it was going to cost in the U.S.
Yep.
He didn't have insurance, so he's going to fly there. The knee replacement would cost like freaking $6,000. It was going to be a quality knee replacement. I mean, just as good as you get in the U.S. The U.S. does not have top-of-the-line health care.
Oh, yeah, that's been one of the running misconceptions, that the U.S. has better health care than countries that have, communal health care, which is a fucking joke, because that's not true at all.
Exactly, but this guy was getting his knee replaced for a couple $1,000, then vacationing with his family so he could heal out there in this fucking, European country, and then coming back, saving tens of thousands of dollars. That's fucking embarrassing. That's a goddamn problem. That's like if I buy a computer here, and it'll cost me the same amount as going to Europe on a fucking private jet, picking it up, banging 3 fucking high-class prostitutes, and flying it back, and it still was cheaper. That's a fucking problem.
You know what's hilarious? I think that's one of the major reasons news is very selective about what it shows about outside of America. I mean, it's been a running joke for years. I remember when I came here, one of the funniest things for me is how behind when I entered 10th grade America was on its own history, like students were. I had passed that level of American history in my country when I got here in the 10th grade.
And it was probably
And I was like, how the fuck don't you guys? Now, we didn't just do American history. We did the history of every major country. Why? Because they're important players in the world, and you should probably know a little bit of their history so you know where they come from. So it was amazing to me when I came in here and I went, you guys had a major issue in Germany with Germany in World War II. How don't you know more about Germany? You guys have a major enemy known as Russia. How aren't you taught more about the Russian history? How the fuck does that, I mean, even basic history of another country. These are necessities. Like, every other country knows the president of America. Every other country knows the president of Russia. Every other country knows most of the European presidents. Most Americans don't even know the Canadian president or the Mexican president.
I don't. I'll admit that right now. And
that's
like our biggest fucking ally, and I don't know who they're
I kind of cracked the fuck up because I'm like, that doesn't bother you fuckers? You know more about the states of the royal wedding right now than who is the Prime Minister of England. That's kind of a scary thing when majority of the population have to vote on leaders that would deal with foreign policy and don't know the names of the leaders of foreign policy of other countries. How the fuck can you call that country the #1 in the world? How the fuck can you call that country educated? Now here's part of the reason I'm still Team America after all of that. After all of what I just said. Of all the countries I've learned about and I've researched, and I am by no means an expert, I just know passive knowledge about most of these things. America is one of the few countries that is the most open to changing itself in an aggressive manner quickly and suddenly. Usually for the positive. England ain't too good at doing that shit. Neither is fucking France. Those motherfuckers have centuries of ingrained culture to fight against. They move in a good direction, but they move slow. Like right now, there's something that everybody should be paying attention to going on in Europe. There's a party in Germany known as, I believe, the Golden Falcon or the Golden Eagle Party. It's the Golden something. And it's like hardcore conservative right for Germany. Like neo-Nazi hardcore conservative right for Germany. And if we've learned anything from history, when Germany swings right, shit doesn't go very good in Europe for very long. It's a bad habit. And it's not just Germany swinging right. It's a lot of European countries swinging that almost Nazi right. Like Greece is on the verge of doing that shit too. So the fact that no one is talking about it here is kind of terrifying to me. But America is very good when it wants to at informing itself and moving forward. Shit like the Supreme Court forcing states that don't want to do it to accept gay marriage because it's constitutional. That's some shit that'd be really fucking difficult in England or Europe. Even though most of those countries have adopted, you know, homosexual marriage pretty comfortably without an issue. But that's not my point. My point is if they had to change, they would be a lot more stubborn than America can be. So ultimately, for me, America is the country with the most potential at any point in time of doing the right thing. That's why I'm always going to be Team America. That is, we are the only country, we are the only country that was founded on the principle that nobody is a monarch, nobody is a king. We want to build the perfect country. It's still the greatest experiment ongoing. We still haven't lasted as long as most other countries have existed. I don't think we've even done quarter of the time of most other countries. Like, look at Rome.
Yeah.
Rome is Rome ruled the world way longer than we've been in power. And look at Greece now. Look at Rome now. That shit is kind of depressing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we've done pretty good for a short-term experiment, and we've built ourselves from scratch in a way that we can adapt to anything that comes at us fairly well. But the problem is we're getting to a point where all the rich people are hiring all the smart people to do the wrong things. Things like companies taking their base of operation out of the country so they don't pay taxes here. That's some evil type shit. And the government should be doing better to stop that. But we have motherfuckers that are so concerned with holding their position of power much more than they are of doing the right thing. Because the way they look at it is, let's be honest, if I don't do it, somebody else will. So it's not like I'm not laying the blame strictly at politicians, even though they hold a huge chunk of the blame. I'm not laying the blame strictly at the media, even though I feel like they hold the majority of the blame. And I'm not laying the blame strictly at people, including us, because we hold a chunk of the blame too. I think everybody is to blame, but I think America is the best country at figuring that shit out quickly.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right, man. I'm not gonna.
Hey, I'm in this country because I bet my chips on it. I bet my chips that when everything goes bad, America is the country that comes. I mean, look, man, we've done some amazing things. In the short time we've been in power, in the short time we've taken over, we've done some amazing things. We're just going through the same lull that every other country goes through when you get to the top of the heap. Like, we invented the car, right?
Yep.
And now Asian cars are better than ours. You know why? Because they did what we did. They looked at what another motherfucker was doing wrong, and they went, oh, we could do that shit better. Them motherfuckers are doing big, brawny, and gas guzzling. We're going to do small, compact, and affordable for poor people. Because more poor people are going to buy this shit. Bam. And guess what? We're starting to rectify ourselves. We invented the fucking internet. And guess what? Other countries went, you know what? We can do that better. That's why we're like number 13 in fucking internet speed in the world, even though we created the damn thing. And we're getting worse by the day. But you know what? You got people like T-Mobile going, oh my God, this shit ain't fucking working. We're going to start giving some crazy ass deals out there to at least make this shit manageable.
Yeah.
That competitive spirit is best, as far as I can tell, in America. No other country does that the way we do that. That's what I'm betting my chips on. That's what I'm betting my daughter's life on. That's what I'm betting my family's life on.
It's kind of worrisome because whenever I see people talking about revolution, what the U.S. needs is a revolution, which I can't deny. But the people I see who are ready to do a revolution are not the fucking people I want running the country, you know?
But that's kind of a byproduct of people that want a revolution. It's kind of like most of the people that want to run for office are never the motherfuckers you want that should be holding office. I'll tell you this, I've only met one person in my life that was trying to be a politician. And God damn it, I'm going to get his name because I will forever do my best to make sure that motherfucker never touches office. Because he is 100% a psychopath. End of story. I'm sure I've told you stories about this asshole. I can't remember his name right now. I'll find the name and next show I'll post that shit. I'll post his website and everything. He's a terrible human being. I know this individual personally. I've known him in private. He is a horrible. He's a guy who used to come to our job, which was a business casual, in a suit. He would say that he came because he came from his other job, which was he was doing something for a Republican house or whatever. But he would come in a suit, not because he didn't have other options, but because he always wanted to be dressed as if he was in charge of us. He's a guy who used to tell everybody about the private school he went to, and when I informed him that I went to that private school, promptly stopped saying it because he didn't want anybody bringing him down to a humane level. You know? What did he do? He's a guy who went to Bowie State University when Obama was making a speech, not because he wanted to listen to Obama's speech, but because he wanted to cause chaos in the crowd, which he did. He went as a white man who was a conservative in a predominantly African American crowd in a predominantly African American city to boo Obama, knowing the reaction of the crowd would have, so that he could put it on YouTube and look like a hero to conservatives. It was when he showed us the video, it was the most sadistic thing I had ever seen anybody do. And here's the sad part about it. He will succeed in politics. He will. He has the drive, he has the dedication, and he has the ruthlessness to be successful in politics. And the reason he does is because he's a fucking psychopath who craves power.
Didn't he rip off some people at your job too?
Oh yeah. He was one of the lead salespeople at our job. We were doing like a sales job. He was gifted orally. He was and that was the hilarious part about him stealing. He was a gifted orator who was one of the leading salespeople. And then they found out that he was stealing other people's sales to add to his sales total. Because people were going, how the hell does he get a bonus every month? That's ridiculous. And then they found out he was stealing people's sales. He was already ahead of the pack, and it wasn't enough. He wanted to be so far ahead of the pack, he was willing to steal. And you know what's funny? If he put that on a resume, a job would hire him today because he's ruthless and willing to do whatever it takes to succeed.
Yep. Sounds perfect. Put him as the second in my district.
And the way I look at it, anybody that I've ever seen that I would wish to run for politics, that works in local politics that I talk to, wouldn't be caught dead running in big time politics. Anytime they were asked, like I would ask them, I'd go like, there was a conservative lady in Baltimore who was fantastic. I can't remember her name for the life of me. I'll also get her name for the next show. She was absolutely kind, caring. I didn't agree with a lot of her views, but she came at it from a reasonable angle. And I was like, I see your point. You're a religious woman who wants to put more of a people aspect into politics and take government out of it. I can't say I don't see your point, even though I usually tend to lean liberal, even though I'm not a fucking liberal. But I asked her, I was like, you're the kind of person who should really be running for big politics. Why don't you do it? She's like, and get involved in that fucking snake pit and cutthroat business? Fuck that noise. I'd rather be local where I can do some good.
And that's why it's a snake pit, because these people stayed out.
and for me, it gave me a beautiful insight in the sense that nobody that ascends to Congress is a person I would like to run this country. Nobody. None of those people. What it takes to be that person is terrible. Unless you're Bill Clinton, who just makes all that shit fun. That's a motherfucker who's in a snake pit just for the pussy. I can respect that. No offense, feminists. Just saying.
That guy. We gave him such a hard time for getting a blowjob. You know?
Yeah, look, man. Of all the evildoers that have run through that office, that's one of the few people I can go, you know what? I see his point. He's a scumbag just like all of them. But if there's anybody I can hope in my heart is a scumbag because he's in the scenario where he has to be, it'd be that guy. a man who got a blowjob he did what every man would do if they had the Oval Office. Who the fuck wouldn't get a blowjob in the Oval Office? You're in the Oval Office. You're running shit. The fucking power play is the blowjob. And that motherfucker's playing a mean saxophone. Oh yeah, I'm down.
They're getting blown while freaking playing with the nuclear launch button.
Like, listen, if there's any man on planet Earth who would look me in the eye and say, if I was in the Oval Office and I had the chance to get a blowjob as the president and get a surrender, could you imagine, just for 1 second, women play along too. Imagine if you were the leader of the free world right now, right? And you had a man servicing you in the Oval Office. If you told everybody, men and women, please fantasize about this. You told everybody in the cabinet, please go outside for a minute. I need a moment. And you had a man or a woman servicing you in the Oval Office.
You got the guy with the nuclear football.
The fucking, can you imagine The only way it would be better is if that whole thing happened while Kanye West's song Power was playing in the background. It's the only way that would be better.
Jesus. I'll do it. I'll do it in a quick
Anybody who says I would never do it because I have too many morals. Look, stop it. Be human for 5 seconds, right? Obviously, as a professional, I wouldn't expect you to do it. Do I think his punishment was a little harsh? Yes, but he got a blowjob in the Oval Office. It wasn't very professional. It would be like me getting a blowjob at work. I'm in retail, but it's still not that fucking professional. If I can't get a blowjob at work, he can't get a blowjob in the Oval Office. I'm sorry. That being said, if I could get the fuck away with a blowjob in the Oval Office, yeah, come on. On my De Niro face right now, come on.
I can't blame him for taking that risk.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Any red-blooded American man or woman who doesn't take that risk is not my kind of red-blooded American. End of story. If you're not willing to take the risk of getting a blowjob or a fucking eaten out in the middle of the Oval Office, you're not the America I would vote for.
Well, we better shut this shit down. We're running out of time, buddy.
Yeah. I'm already late. but all right.
You got any parting shots?
Yeah. I actually did. I had a parting shot. Let me see if I can remember that damn thing. Yeah. Sorry, I want to reiterate. If you're the fucker posting religious shit on Facebook, if you post it on your page as the header, I'm fine with that. That is your post. You get to enjoy it. But if you come into me talking about WWE wrestling or fucking a cute baby video and you start posting religious fucking prayers on there, shut the fuck up.
Keep that shit on your own page.
For real, there's a time and a place, man. I think that whole religious thing gets taken too far because motherfuckers feel like they can just pull that card out anytime, and because it's religion, you have to take it. Like, no. I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I could give a fuck. If you're telling me that I'm going to hell, I'm pretty secure in going to heaven.
And the only thing I would like to say is, feminist, bitch about Robin Thicke songs for the reason all of us do. That's the shitty fucking songs. Okay?
Yeah, they're pretty terrible.
Fuck the rest of us and fucking bitch for the right reasons, okay?
That motherfucker, him and Elvis have a lot in common. And that is they're using the black race for everything it's got. But at least Robin Thicke is funny.
Yeah, at least got that fucking haircut too.
Not just that, man. You need to see him on Real Husbands of Hollywood. He's actually pretty funny. He blacked out into Terry Crews in one of the episodes. It was pretty funny.
You know what though? I'm not gonna do that. But thank you. Thank you.
That's just your racism taking the best of yourself. You can't help that.
But thank you, all of our beautiful fans, and we'll see you next week, same time, same channel, and hopefully I'll post the link a little sooner.
Indeed.
But you guys have a wonderful rest of your week and a wonderful Valentine's Day. I hope
Yeah.
Don't do what I keep making the mistake of and getting your woman too drunk to fuck on Valentine's Day, okay?
and a piece of advice for you women. Get your bitch something nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, women, this ain't all about you. It's supposed to be the couple. So go get your man something. Okay?
Exactly. Get your bitch something nice. Get that motherfucker I don't know, an Xbox game or some shit. Something he likes. Steak, for God's sake.
2K15, there you go.
Yeah. I don't know many men who turn it down.
All right, we'll talk to you guys later.
All right.